Hello, in this video I'll show you how to use DatePicker and TimePicker in MudBlazor. We will have a very simple arrangement right here. We have the DatePicker and then we have the TimePicker, but we will sort of merge it into one variable. So datetime in C# we have, but in MudBlazor we only have either DatePicker or TimePicker, so we're kind of merging it. And then we will have an error. I'll show you how we can display an error. It won't be an actual error, it will just be displayed. So if I pick here, I have a default value. You see this pops up and you have several options to choose from. And let's say I pick 22. Okay, and that changes quite perfectly. And you also can see the error displayed. Well, it worked perfectly, but it was displayed. I'll show you how you can make that happen. It is inserted into that MudBlazor arrangement. And then if I pick time, you see it's 12 AM at the moment. And let's pick it like that. Let's say 4. Okay, let's say 4. Now we have 4 AM, 22, 10, everything is picked. Let's take a look at the code. Take a look at the code right here. We just have it in the index.razor. You can download the code from the Patreon as well as the other source code that I have, and take a look at my latest, one of the latest videos on the PDF invoice generator and storage system with Blazor server side. Quite an interesting arrangement. I will also be publishing it. You will see how that happens and all that stuff. So we have ModItem and then we have MudPicker. You don't obviously have to have ModItem, but it's basically how it is stored. Now the pickers, they have variants. In this case we have a dialog, okay, but you can also have it as inline or you can have it as static, so that will always be displayed. Inline would be a sort of a smaller one. So static is kind of a dialog but displayed, always displayed. It doesn't pop up. It's not a dialog, right? And the inline just a simple kind of like text box thing. It's just basic and simple thing. We also have the label. We saw the label, and we also have the helper text. Helper text is very useful. Now in this arrangement we also have the date format. You should probably have some kind of a format just in case, so it's sort of always the same, but also you can just leave it, it doesn't really matter. So you don't necessarily need this. Now if we just go quickly, you can see you have all these different things, but again, I wouldn't really recommend messing too much with them. It might overcomplicate things, and it really is your choice, but again, I would not mess with it too much. And if you want to set the start month directly right here, you can do it like that, but I just did it like that. Now there is also the range. I'll show you the range, how to do date range rather than date picker. It's a bit of a different arrangement, but it's kind of the same thing, right? So we have the date and then we use bind date. We have it right here. We have it. Okay. Now you see this is one of those nullable types, variables, right? You basically put a question mark in, and then you can check if it has value or not. It will have this property for checking that. We'll get into the error, I'll show you. But basically it's the same date time. You just have to sort of work it out in a bit more of a different way perhaps. And then we'll have this error message, but the date time is displayed, and that, as you have seen, works perfectly. Now for the time, you need to use ModTimePicker. It also have this variance, it also have label, it also have a helper text, all those different things. But since we are putting it into one date time thing, and date time doesn't really have a property inside it for the time part of the date, right? It doesn't have a property. You need to use a method. Therefore, we can't really do the bind. So what we have to do, we have to access the event time changed, and then the args will be the time span in this case. Okay, the time span. Now the time span is also one of those nullable things. So we have to use value. We have to get the value. Okay, we get the value, and it also, if I can just show you quickly, you see it has this has value boolean, so you can check for that. It's kind of useful in some cases. Personally, I don't use it. Perhaps I'm a bit old-fashioned, but I don't use it. But it does have that option, so it's kind of an interesting thing if you want to explore it. But basically, okay, from the date time, we use add hours method. Okay, and then we add the selected hours from the arguments, the value again from the arguments, and then we have add minutes. Now don't forget that add minutes and add hours, it will not add the values directly into this variable. It will just sort of create a copy of it and add into that. Okay, so you have to assign it. You have to assign it to the original. That's how it works. So for the error, we have the error message. As you can see, we only have this one string, and what I normally would do, I would do just a paragraph, red color, and display it, but since this has a built-in option, I'll just use the built-in option. It looks a lot better, right? But you have to have some kind of a Boolean value. So we will have this string, error message, and then we will check whether it is null or not. Okay, let's just see where it is. Right here we have it. So as you can see, we have error property and error text property, or parameter, whichever word you like. And the error is a Boolean, so if it's true, the error is displayed. If it's false, the error is not displayed. So you can kind of get the idea. If the error message is null, therefore the text is not assigned, then the message is not displayed. And if it is assigned, then the message is displayed, and then we put the text into the error text. Now, if you have a static text, just one message for all the possible errors, then you can go ahead and use a Boolean value rather than a text value, but it works in the same way. You just need to set either true or false for displaying the error text, and then you have to set the error text. Now let's take a look at the DateRangePicker. It's kind of the same thing, just a different type. For the DateRangePicker, we use MudDateRangePicker. That's what we use, right? And it's the same exact thing as the DatePicker. It will pop up and it will have 2 dates instead of 1. So you select from and to. That's it. And you can see an example of how it works and what it looks like in a search in my PDF generator storage system example video. It's kind of a long one, 2 more hours, but it is definitely an interesting thing to look at. So it's simple. Right here we just have bind date range, and we bind it to date range. And as you can see, it comes from the MudBlazor. Now, if you don't know how to set up the MudBlazor, don't worry. I do have a video on that. Take a look, setting up MudBlazor with icons, how to use the icons and set up a MudBlazor. It's a good video. It will show you all that you need to know to sort of get started with MudBlazor. And also take a look at my tables video. You'll learn how to filter and sort in MudBlazor tables. Those are terribly useful. So do take a look at that, and you will probably be using in most of your projects because you can customize it. It's just a great thing. But in any case, right here in this little pointless method, we have date time, okay, and this is how you access those 2 values. So in this case, we have date range, we have start, okay, the start date, and then we take the value. Again, it's one of those nullables things, so we have to take the value. And if you wanted the end, well, guess what? It would be the end, right? That's what we have. End and start. So this is how you use the DatePicker. This is how you do all those different things with dates. Again, do take a look at all my other videos with MudBlazor related. You'll learn a lot and you'll be able to use the MudBlazor quite properly. And if you want to learn Blazor, take a look at my Blazor course. You will learn everything from scratch with all the Blazor difficult parts, and you'll be able to use Blazor. Also take a look at my other courses. If you want the source code, it's available on Patreon. We will actually get a free course. And with that said, we will conclude this video.